Imagine this. You're 28 years old, working a stable office job, making $55,000 a year. You have your 401k, you're diligently following Dave Ramsey's advice, debt-free, budgeting like a pro, living on a strict envelope system. Life is stable, predictable, comfortable. Or so you think. But here's the thing. That so-called stability might just be the riskiest financial move you are making in 2026. Yeah, you heard that right. Stable jobs are riskier than ever. And no, it is not just because of inflation or tech layoffs. It is because the world of work and wealth has changed dramatically. Most people blindly follow advice from gurus who promise safety in a 9-to-5. But here's what nobody tells you. Stability can slowly erode your wealth if you do not play the game differently. By the end of this video, you will discover why relying on a stable job could actually put your financial future at risk and what to do about it before it is too late. Let's dive in. Let us set the stage. Picture yourself at your desk, coffee in hand, calendar full of meetings. Your paycheck comes like clockwork every 2 weeks. You are grateful for security. You are following Dave Ramsey's plan, thinking you are winning. But here's the problem. The world has moved faster than your paycheck. Technology, inflation, remote work, AI, all these forces are changing the rules. That $55,000 job you thought was comfortable, its real value is shrinking. Consider this. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation-adjusted wages for middle-class jobs have only grown by 1% per year over the last 5 years. Meanwhile, the cost of living, especially rent and healthcare, has increased by over 10% in the same period. Your paycheck feels bigger, but it buys less. And that is just the beginning. Job security is illusory. A 2025 ADP report showed that 43% of full-time employees fear being replaced by AI or automation within the next 5 years. That is nearly half of all stable workers suddenly at risk of losing their main income. So, if this sounds familiar, working hard, budgeting carefully, still feeling financially stretched, you are not alone. Millions of Americans are trapped in the illusion of stability, while their wealth quietly erodes. Now, let's break this down. First, let's talk about inflation. You might think your steady paycheck shields you from financial risk, but inflation is a silent killer of stability. Even a modest 4% inflation rate can erode your purchasing power dramatically over time. That $55,000 job, in 5 years, it could feel like $45,000. Imagine buying groceries, rent, and utilities. You budget $300 per week for food today, but in 5 years, that same basket costs $350. Your paycheck has not increased enough to cover it, yet your expenses keep rising. Think of inflation like a slow leak in a bucket. You are filling it with water, your paycheck, but the leak is steady. If you do not patch it, eventually the bucket is empty, and all your hard work feels wasted. This leads us to the next crucial point. Next, let's talk about retirement, or rather, why it is riskier than ever if you rely on your job alone. You are told, save 15% of your salary, max out your 401k, and one day you will retire comfortably. Sounds simple, right? But the math behind those assumptions is increasingly outdated. Dave Ramsey often talks about 12% average market returns. Reality check. The S&P 500 has returned an average closer to 7 to 8% over the last decade, after accounting for inflation. If you are counting on 12% growth, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Here's a scenario. You invest $8,000 per year for 30 years at 12% returns. You're dreaming of over $3 million. But at 7% returns, you end up with roughly $1 million. Suddenly, your safe plan is not enough to cover a comfortable retirement. Think of it like packing for a trip. You are told to bring enough food for 3 days, but the trip takes 5. Without adjusting your plan, you will run out. Relying solely on your paycheck and standard retirement accounts is like packing the wrong map for your financial journey. Stable jobs feel predictable, but history tells a different story. Between 2008 and 2022, the average tenure for a U.S. worker fell from 4.6 years to 3.2 years. People are not staying at one company for decades anymore. Layoffs, mergers, and AI-driven replacements happen overnight. Imagine you're 35, mid-career, laid off unexpectedly. Your safety net covers 3 months. But what about 6 months or a year? Suddenly, your emergency fund is not enough. Your savings stagnate, and your debt, if any, can spiral. The metaphor here is simple. A stable job is like a thin ice layer. It looks solid, but one misstep, automation, downsizing, company bankruptcy, and you are in cold water, struggling to stay afloat. Even debt-free believers can fall into a trap. Here is the irony. Following Dave Ramsey's plan, many focus on eliminating debt first and investing later. That is great if your job remains uninterrupted. But what if you suddenly lose your paycheck? You have sacrificed compound growth for safety, but that safety is no longer guaranteed. Imagine you spent 5 years snowballing your credit card debt to zero. And yes, viewers, imagine that snowball rolling down a hill 500 times in the comment section. Meanwhile, your investments have not grown enough to act as a backup. The metaphor, the snowball method works beautifully in a stable environment, but in a shaky economy, it can leave you exposed if your income stops. Here is the kicker. Staying in a stable job often means missing out on exponential wealth-building opportunities. You are trading potential upside for predictability. While your peers are investing in side hustles, stocks, crypto, or real estate, you're sitting at your desk, optimizing budgets and clipping coupons. Let us do the math. Working your $55,000 job, saving 15% annually, you invest $8,250 per year. Over 10 years at 7% growth, you have roughly $104,000. But investing that same money in a high-growth tech fund yielding 15% could give you $180,000, almost double. Think of it as planting seeds. Some seeds grow slowly under the shade, safe, but limited. Others, planted in the right soil with water and sunlight, grow tall and fast. Stability is shade. Growth requires risk. Even if your job pays the bills, it often inflates your lifestyle. You get promotions, raises, maybe a company car, or perks. Suddenly, expenses rise in tandem. This phenomenon is called lifestyle inflation. The danger, your stable paycheck feels bigger, but it does not increase your freedom. By the time you think about investing, you are living paycheck to paycheck because your stability tricked you into spending more. Key statistic, a study from Fidelity found that nearly 60% of Americans spend at least 90% of their income, leaving little room for investments, even in stable jobs. Finally, let's talk about the stress factor. Stable jobs often feel secure, but they can quietly drain you. Fear of layoffs, stagnating income, missed opportunities. It builds anxiety. Stress affects your decisions. People with high stress are less likely to invest, take calculated risks, or even save consistently. Financial security is not just math, it is psychology. Stability feels safe, but it can create false confidence, delaying essential action until it's too late. So, what do you actually do with this information? Step 1. Diversify your income. Do not rely solely on your 9 to 5. Start a side hustle, freelance, or invest in dividend stocks. Why it matters, multiple income streams reduce risk if one source disappears. Start small this week. Even $100 extra per month counts. Step 2. Invest beyond 401ks. Explore ETFs, index funds, or high-growth stocks. Why it matters. Traditional retirement plans alone may underperform. Research and invest within the next month. Tools, Robinhood, Fidelity, Vanguard. Step 3. Build a true emergency fund. Aim for 9 to 12 months of expenses. Why it matters. Short-term stability does not guarantee long-term survival. Contribute weekly, even $50 a week adds up. Step 4. Leverage skills to increase your market value. Upskill in tech, finance, AI, or management. Why it matters. More in-demand skills equal better job security and growth. Start a course today. Complete within 3 months. Step 5. Mind your lifestyle inflation. Track spending. Automate savings. Live below your means even after raises. Why it matters. Prevents paycheck from vanishing while you stay stable. Monthly review. Adjust immediately. Here is the truth. A stable job feels safe. But in 2026, It is no longer the financial fortress it once was. Inflation, automation, retirement math, lifestyle creep, all of these quietly erode your wealth while you sit comfortably. The solution is not abandoning stability entirely. It is stacking safety with growth. Diversify income, invest wisely, build a real safety net, and never stop increasing your skills. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more insights that challenge conventional wisdom and reveal the hidden financial truths no one talks about. Next video, why your budget is not making you rich and what actually will. Remember, stability is a comfort, growth is a choice, and your financial future belongs to the bold. Do not just survive, thrive.